So the activity that I chose to do was to watch the documentary Who Cares About Kelsey? It follows the life of Kelsey Carroll, who in 2011 was trying to graduate from Somersworth High School in Somersworth, New Hampshire. Somersworth High School at the time of Kelsey's freshman year, which would have been in about 2007, 2008, was that it had one of the highest dropout rates in the entire state of New Hampshire. Kelsey herself was a high-risk student for dropping out because she had a rather hard home life, as well as the diagnosis for ADHD that she received in 4th grade caused her to fall behind in her schoolwork very easily. She had trouble paying attention in class and focusing. She had trouble sitting still through classes. She got agitated very quickly, frustrated very quickly as well. So for her, school wasn't a place where she actually liked to be. The biggest issue from the documentary was the fact that Kelsey was trying to graduate high school. She had already been held back for like half of a year in middle school, and during freshman year, she didn't gain any academic credit at all. She ended up getting suspended for drug possession, and she got into a lot of fights. Because she was so quick to frustration and anger, she often did fall to physical violence against other students, especially those that were more ignorant about what was going on with her. Trying to graduate high school for her was rather hard. She did have some support systems going on for her, but they weren't close, intimate social supports. Her school started stuff with positive behavior, as well as inducting her into a program called Renew, which was a program developed at the University of New Hampshire that was meant for students with emotional and behavioral challenges that would help them move from high school to college or to a career, and literally help with that transition and making it easier for them. The good news is that Kelsey did graduate. That was accomplished at the end. She got the chance to speak at a conference and go back to her school and talk to new freshmen and give them a chance to be like, this is what you need to do in order to graduate on time and to have the best experience here that you can have. And one of the greatest things that changed through the documentary was the programs that the high school implemented actually decreased their dropout rate by 75% and decreased their discipline problems by 60%, which is pretty immense, because high school kids just tend to act out sometimes. But overall, it was really well planned, done, and the ending was really eye-opening. The perspective of this really was helpful because it shows firsthand, what it's like trying to be a kid in a classroom when you have trouble sitting still, when you have trouble paying attention. Because those of us who don't have those challenges, it doesn't really resonate with us. We don't understand. So this documentary gave me a greater outsider view of what is going on inside of these heads. For me, it was it was something I was very familiar with, outsiders wise, because I have a few people in my family who are diagnosed with ADHD, including my nephew, who is 6 and in 1st grade, and he's in a classroom setting where he has trouble sitting still and paying attention, and he's quick to, become frustrated and angry and say things. So this idea that we can use this tool to educate others, to help bring in a better classroom experience for these students with ADHD and other behavioral and emotional challenges, is a wonderful thing. My basis for understanding ADHD as a whole, while very broad and very general, can be helpful working with students with ADHD. I do plan to work with special needs kids, and that means that I will be working with a child who has ADHD. And this movie helped me understand kind of some of the more personal aspects of what might be going on in their head. And it's always a good thing to be able to try and help the student understand on something that they may need. And especially for students who may not have the greatest home life, like Kelsey, who was sexually assaulted, who self-harmed, who had problems with drugs, and trying to find ways to help them reach a point that they can become the Kelsey at the end of the documentary, who graduated high school and actually moved on to study psychology in college. So, it did really reconfirm a lot of what I had already known, but I was really glad that I got to watch this documentary because it gave me kind of a new perspective. I had learned a lot from my family's views with ADHD, but there's almost like this personal bias from me that's like, oh, it's my family, it's different. But this video showed me a lot more than I had expected, and getting to see it with somebody who I don't know opened my eyes up a little bit more. So for that, it was really good. So beyond that, it is a great documentary, and it's going to be a powerful tool to be able to use for teachers and educators everywhere, to help just give them a look inside of the mind of the students.